from the MSU Dome, it's the 1996 Boys Class A High School Basketball Tournament.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Magic City and the Minot State Dome for championship night of the 1996 Class A Boys Basketball Tournament. I'm Dan Michaels, along with my partner Dan Viennes, John Hagry, and Dennis Wyman, and our entire Meyer Broadcasting crew. It's championship night here at the Minot State Dome, and Dan Viennes, take us through our schedule tonight.
Well, we have a couple of good ones, I think. It took us all year to come up with this schedule. First off, the third place game, and this is really a fitting game. The two Cinderella teams will battle it out for who gets to wear the glass slipper. Fargo Shanley against the Mandan Braves. And then in our title tilt, everybody agrees it has come down to the two best teams in the state, number 1 and number 2 in the last state poll, Minot against Grand Forks Central. Earlier this afternoon in the consolation championship game, Devils Lake has battled their way back. Another great performance from Justin Johnson. 35 points, 10 rebounds as they beat Bismarck 71-64 to take the consolation title.
And as we set up the contest coming up, our third place game, and you see some of the gentlemen that we're going to be talking about. First of all, for the Shanley Deacons, let's talk about Nick Jacobson. Nick Jacobson, only a freshman, but he's been a starter for most of the year for Shanley. He is the coach's son. He has been shooting a 13-point-per-game average during this tournament with 3.5 rebounds, 90% from the free throw line. He's a quiet kind of player, but he's really come on late in the ball games, and he's going to be a key for the Deacons if they're going to pull off third place against the Mandan Braves tonight.
Meanwhile, Sam Polis has just been the stalwart for the Mandan Braves. 28 points in that triple overtime win in the first round, a 21-point average, also pulling down 5 rebounds a game. He's really their only outside threat. He's the guy that needs to get loose tonight if they're going to beat the Deacons.
Okay, there's our ISOs. Let's get it from the real experts who are on the floor, Dennis Wyman and John Hagry. Guys.
All right, thanks a lot, fellas. You know, Shanley is just thrilled to be in this third place game. Of course, they wanted to get in the championship game, but now that they're in the third place game with a young team, they're happy to be here. They're going to try to put a little defensive pressure on Mandan early with the full court press and try to pick up the tempo.
And Mandan's head coach Greg Limke going with all 5 seniors to start the game. You know, you look out here, the shock of not playing in a title game has wore off. There's all smiles out here. We expect a good third place game.
Yeah, it should be a real relaxed atmosphere and a real fun one to watch. Fellas?
All right, gentlemen, let's jump in and take a look at our starting lineup. Starting lineups for tonight's game brought to you by the new Dodge and your friendly Dodge dealer. Here's our starting lineups. First of all, for the Shanley Deacons, at 1 guard, number 10, 5'11" freshman. He's one of the 2 freshmen that start. Dan Dog got a little fall trouble last night, but he'll rise to the occasion this evening. At the other guard for the Shanley Deacons, Brian Quam. Quam, a senior at 6'2". Shanley starts 3 guards, and the other one, there is, we just talked about him, Nick Jacobson, who's averaging 13 points throughout this tournament. He's only a freshman as well. At 1 forward, Mike Johnson, a 6'4" senior, and the guy in the middle will be Josh Deutsch tonight. Josh also 6'4" and a senior, and of course, Deacons coached by Tim Jacobson.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, the Mandan Braves, John Hagry told you they're starting all their seniors, a tribute to the graduating ones. Chad Kincaid at 1 senior. He is a regular starter at point guard. Mike Auk, usually their first player off the bench, will get the start tonight, the 5'10" senior. Up front for the Braves, Lance Geigel, the 6'1" senior forward, another regular starter for the Braves. Casey Meidinger, though, a bench player usually averaging just under a point a game. He will get the start tonight as a tribute from Coach Greg Limke. And Scott Tom, another one of the seniors, one of the regular players, will also start tonight for the Braves. And as we mentioned, Greg Limke in his second year as the helm of the Braves is the head coach, and also they have a 6th senior, Dan Turnus. He'll be the first player off the bench today.
Okay, the table is set, and we're about ready to serve. The third place game coming up next on the Meyer Broadcasting Network. And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Minot State Dome on the campus of Minot State University for championship night of the 1996 North Dakota Class A basketball tournament. Dan Michaels and Dan Viennes back at the Minot State Dome as we're getting ready for the third place contest between Greg Limke's Mandan Braves and Tim Jacobson's Shanley Deacons. And Dan Viennes, there's a little bit of a jersey problem for the Mandan Braves going into this one.
Well, you know, sometimes at these state tournaments, the things that happen off of the floor are more interesting, or at least more dramatic, than the things that happen on the floor. As the Mandan Braves were getting ready for this game, and we told you how Greg Limke wanted to give all his seniors a start. He was going to start Dan Turnus, who is a senior and doesn't normally get to start, so he was going to have Lance Geigel come off the bench and have Dan Turnus start. Well, they got to the Minot State Dome today, and Dan couldn't find his jersey. They looked all over for it, couldn't find it. They went to the team bus to try and find it, couldn't find the team bus. Finally, they turned to their sophomore, TJ Swisher, who does not yet have a significant role on the team, and TJ agreed to give up his jersey, so Dan Turnus, normally number 21, will be number 23 when he enters the game this evening, but he will play.
Okay, and there's the story from Mandan on the Shanley side, and as you can tell, both of these teams very relaxed as they're going into this third place game. John Hegre kind of touched on that in our open. Shanley's coach Tim Jacobson was all smiles. He stopped by our desk here before things got going, and we're not trying to perpetuate wagering, but there is a small bet on the Shanley bench we need to tell you about. Craig Murray, assistant to Tim Jacobson, has got a $20 bet with head coach Tim Jacobson that he will not attack the referees tonight. He won't say one derogatory word to the refereeing crew tonight. For Craig Murray's part, he said he's going to order a pizza in the first quarter because he knows that Jacobson's going to lose that bet. So there's a lot of fun, a little relaxation as we're getting ready for the third place game. We'll take a break and we'll come back for the opening tip-off of the third place game of the North Dakota Class A Boys Basketball Tournament in just a moment on the North Dakota NBC Television Network.
Even if you don't know us, you certainly know our work. Since 19...
And welcome back to the Minot State Dome. We're getting set for the third place contest between the Mandan Braves and the Shanley Deacons. And Dan Viennes, there's a look at our referees for tonight.
Well, theoretically, these are the best of the best. They're graded on their performance and advanced to today on a selection basis. Ed Baker from Minot, Dave Klunt from Fargo.
And there's a sign obviously promoting the Mandan Braves. The Shanley contingency is all here ready to go. Kind of an interesting story. We were talking to Tim Jacobson before the contest got going down, and he said, well, we were thinking about going man-to-man right away against the Mandan Braves, but then we saw Eric Schmidt in the pool last night. We got a load of the pipes, and we decided we'll go zone against Mandan. The telecast of these tournament games has been authorized by special arrangement with the Board of Directors of the North Dakota High School Activities Association, and I believe Dennis Wyman is going to have an interview coming up tonight with Dave Carlsrud, assistant to the executive secretary. We'll find out more about the High School Activity Association when we do that. Mike Johnson will jump it up against Scott Tom as we're getting underway for the third place game here at the tournament. Tom wins that one easily, and here come the Mandan Braves as they set things up. Shanley indeed in that zone. Just off to the baseline. Both teams pretty relaxed, in good spirits. Crowds in good spirits. A lot of parents with no voices left as we get to this final day of the basketball tournament.
And again, these are all seniors for the Braves, so this will be their last game in a Braves uniform.
Okay. A little stuck on the baseline. Ock with ball. Check that. That's Ock there, number 12. On the baseline, Lance Geigel, and he nails it. And there's the first points of the third place game. Lance Geigel with a two-pointer from the baseline.
That was all created by just good, plain old ball movement from the Mandan Braves.
Shanley in their home reds tonight as they move it around. Nick Jacobson with the ball. Get it on top to Dan Dahl. Over to Q. Q to Johnson. Dangerous pass across to Jacobson. Inside feed. Won't go. Johnson with the rebound. He throws that up. That won't go. Rebound by Ock, and here come Mandan Braves.
Scott Tom, the one that came up with the block shot.
That's Tom right there taking the shot. Won't fall. Brian Quam with the rebound. He gives it to Dan Dahl, and back come the Shanley Deacons. We're just underway in the third place contest. Shanley and Mandan. And we'll touch on it a little later on, but nobody expected these two teams to be here. Jacobson throws that one away. As a matter of fact, Shanley finished 6th during the regular season, but came out of the East Region Tournament, winning 3 of 4, including a play-in game to be the number 2 seed out of the East.
Just an identical road both these teams traveled, as the Braves also finished 6th in the West, so quite an accomplishment for both these programs to just get to the third place game.
That's Chad Kincaid with the ball on the right wing as he tries to drive baseline. He stopped. He gets it back out to Tom. Out on top to Ock. Into the corner. Casey Meidinger with the ball. Mandan trying to move it around. Good balls going around the horn for Mandan as they're trying to find a crack in that Shanley zone. Finally, they'll take the shot. Nails it just like that. Lance Geigel, he's got the only points of the ball game. And Shanley going to try to get on the board. Dan Dahl tried to feed inside and is picked off by Scott Tom. Fast break. He gets it up ahead to Mike Ock. Ock gets it knocked away. Knocked away by Dan Dahl, the freshman, and back come the Shanley Deacons.
Scrambling for some stats. Lance Geigel, the 3, just his 7th of the season a moment ago.
Ball knocked out of bounds and out of the hands of Mike Johnson. It is 5-0. Mandan on top of the Shanley Deacons.
Greg Lemke getting ready to make his first substitution now. The junior, Eric Schmidt, a normal starter, is about to check into the game.
Shanley trying to work it around. They get it up on top to Nick Jacobson. This is the coach's son, one of the 2 freshmen that start for the Deacons. Brian Quam, quick feed inside to Johnson. Johnson fighting against Tom, turn around and puts it in. So Shanley gets on the board. 5-2 with 5:13 to go in the first quarter. This is the 3rd place game. Mandan brings it down. Nice dish into Geigel. Geigel goes for the hoop. Lance Geigel is hot. He's got all the points for the Mandan Braves so far. All 7 belong to Geigel. They're going to have to clamp down on him. This is Johnson again from the baseline. That rolls around and falls in. Mike Johnson also has the only points for the Shanley Deacons, and it's 7-4. Geigel on top of Johnson. They beat the press. Tom,
nice dish.
No-look dish to Lance Geigel, and Geigel continues to score.
He's averaging 10 a game. He's got 9 in the first quarter.
Ball is knocked out of bounds by Chad Kincaid. Substitutions into the game. And into the contest, Sam Pullis and Eric Schmidt. You can see Eric Schmidt, he wears number 44 for Mandan when he's coming in. He's got the pipes and the reason for Shanley's reluctance to play a little man-to-man tonight.
I'll tell you, Greg Lemke has to like where he is. Great gesture for him to start the seniors. They gave him a lead. Now he's got his original starting lineup in the game.
Mike Johnson fighting against Tom. Whistle underneath, and I think it's going to go against Scotty Tom, number 33. That's going to be Tom's first personal foul. In fact, first foul for either team. And Mike Johnson will go to the free throw line.
Mike Johnson forced to play away from the basket quite a bit yesterday as
Johnson's first one up won't fall. He's not happy with himself about it.
Johnson against Kenny Younger in that Minot matchup. They tried to keep him away from the basket to try and keep Younger from down in the middle. And tonight we might see him post up a little bit more.
Second one won't fall. Tom gets the rebound, and they're going to call a foul. Looks like it's going to go against Deutsch. Deutsch was on his back, and Tom went up for the rebound, and that is indeed the situation. First foul on Deutsch. It is 9-4. Mandan with a 5-point lead with just under 4:20 to go. You see the clock on the screen. This is the 3rd place game of the 96 North Dakota Class A basketball tournament from the Magic City of Minot. They have done a great job putting on this tournament. That's Eric Schmidt with the ball. Feed inside to Geigel. Back out to Schmidt. Shanley in that stingy zone. This is Pullis, who's been superior in this tournament. Pullis feeds inside. Back out to Geigel. Geigel gets stuffed by Brian Quam, but Mandan comes back up with the ball. Now it's knocked away by Dan Dahl. Dahl hustling down court. Nice no-look feed to Brian Quam, and he lays it in.
Great pass from Dahl. That was all made possible because I think Mandan took one too many passes down at the other end. Eric Schmidt had an open look at the basket and decided to give it up.
Pullis pulling up and shooting from baseline, won't fall. Fight for the rebound, and Mike Johnson, number 50, comes up with it for the Shanley Deacons. Mike Johnson's final ball game in a Shanley Deacon uniform. This is Brian Quam. Quam had a great opening night game and then stumbled a little bit last night. Johnson goes up, can't make his first one, gets his own rebound, and then gets hacked as he tries to go up with a follow-up.
Here it is. I think Lance Geigel tries to come over after the rebound from Johnson. He's been very active underneath, but a little activity there from Lance Geigel of his own.
Geigel picks up the foul, his first personal, and Mike Johnson will go back to the free throw line. Hope you've been enjoying our coverage the last 3 days. We have had a great time up here in the Magic City. Everywhere you go in the city of Minot, there are signs, placards everywhere saying, "Welcome to Minot for the Class A basketball tournament." We expect a humongous crowd for the championship game tonight.
I was at the mall today, and they had all sorts of displays honoring every team that's in the tournament, not just the Magi, but All of the team logos and all of the team jerseys were displayed all over the mall. Nice gesture.
Yep, different stores had different favorite teams. We're going to take a break with 3:12 to go in the first. It's a one-point game. Mandan on top of Shanley, 9-8. Back with more on the North Dakota NBC Television Network. And we're back on the campus of Minot State University in the Minot State Dome. And speaking of that, Fran Hummel is the athletic director here at Minot State. And he has personally and professionally been a great deal of help involved with this tournament, but with us as well here at Meyer Broadcasting. He's the Dome manager for the committee here for the tournament, and he has really done a great job. In fact, I see him across the way. He is here early this morning. He's been working long hours for this tournament. Fran deserves a big round of applause. What a great job he does here for Minot State.
Dan Turnus in the game now. He's got the ball right now. We have an update. He is wearing number 21. They were able to find his jersey. It was in the trunk of somebody's car, found at the last minute, so they ran it in, and TJ Swisher wearing his own number 23.
What we don't have is whether or not it was a washed jersey or an unwashed jersey that was in the trunk, and whether or not that trunk smells very good anymore.
And he played a few minutes yesterday, more than he's used to. The 5'11 senior, good-looking player, was real impressive in the last 3 minutes yesterday. But talking to Coach Greg Amundsen, he said really the reason that Dan doesn't play more is it's just tough to slow him down. Real tough to control him. He's like a sports car that just has one gear, and tough to get him to downshift. But a real talented player.
And there's a good look at Dan Turnus. By the way, the foul was on Josh Deutsch, who went out of the game because he has 2 quick fouls on him. Mark Fenstead is into the game for the Deacons, as well as that man, Damon Bradshaw, number 30. Bradshaw, usually one of the first people in for the Shanley Deacons, a real competitor. And they're trying to move it around. Mandan in their zone. Feed underneath. Great pass to Johnson. He can't make it. Nice D underneath there, and Schmidt comes up with the ball, and he'll bring it up the floor.
Shane Avey disrupting things down there. He has really come on his own in this tournament.
Ooh, yes, offensive. I was going to say, boy, that looked like a clean play by Nick Jacobson. Here's the replay.
Well, Eric Schmidt has been a foul magnet for the Mandan Braves. Fouled out of the triple overtime game. Fouled out of yesterday's game. All sorts of trouble staying foul free.
He is a load. A lot of beef on that guy. Eric Schmidt stands 6'1", and he is built pretty solid. Shanley just about throws it away. Quam saves it. He gets it up to Jacobson. Jacobson's going to take the 3, and he drops it. Nick Jacobson.
We've been waiting for the tray. You saw the fans, the Shanley fans, with their 3 signs in the stands, and that was their first attempt.
Mandan now trying to work it around. This is Pullis. Sam Pullis feeds inside. Gets back out, and Mandan's going to throw it away.
Well, it was a nice idea from Eric Schmidt, but I think they're just in a situation right now where these 5 not used to playing with each other. Dan Turnus usually not part of this rotation, and just a little miscommunication.
Schmidt's going to sit down. As back into the ball game for the Mandan Braves is Michael Ock. 1:50 to go in the first. It's 11-10. Shanley, their first lead in this contest. Mandan got off to a hot start as Lance Geigel got the first 7 points of the game. Jacobson tries another 3, and he's got the feel. We highlighted Nick Jacobson in our pre-open, talking about he's one of the keys to a Shanley win tonight, and he's just nailed the last 6 points for the Deacons.
What a good-looking young player, and will only get better and might even get a little taller. Reminds me of a kid I watched play in high school that played at Duke named Quinn Snyder. Outstanding player.
Bradshaw picks up the ball, and he's off to the races. Guarded closely by Turnus, who just found his uniform just before game time in the trunk of somebody's car. Q takes the 3, won't fall. Rebound by Pullis. He gives it up to Turnus, and he'll bring it across the timeline. And we're under a minute. Got away with a walk right there. Back to Turnus, guarded closely by Bradshaw. This is Ock on the top. Won't fall. And it goes over the back of the backboard, and Shanley will keep the ball. Kincaid back into the contest for the Mandan Braves, and Dan Turnus will sit down. Just 47 seconds left in this first contest. First quarter of this contest, I should say. Now a little shadow by the Mandan Braves. And Shanley no problem getting it down. Little hack by Avey there, though, on the arm. Avey will pick up the foul. That's Shane Avey's first personal foul.
You know, Dan, I was looking for Lance Geigel. He's got 9 of the Braves' 10 points. I do not see him on the bench right now at all for the Mandan Braves. Don't know what's going on with Lance Geigel, but he is not on the bench.
He is not anywhere in the arena, is he? Shot by Q, won't go. Fight for the rebound. Mandan's going to come up with it. No, it's stolen away by Bradshaw for Shanley. He stops and pops, won't go, and Sam Pullis brings it down. And he'll bring it up. Pass up ahead to Auk. Up on top to Kincaid. 20 seconds to play.
Here
in
comes
the first
Lance.
quarter.
Back onto the floor.
Maybe he was looking for another uniform. Under 10 seconds now. Mandan trying to go for the last shot of the first quarter. Sam Pullis pulls up. Won't fall. Rebound by Q, but no time to make it a play. And so at the end of the first period, Shanley has a 4-point lead over the Mandan Braves. We'll come back with the second quarter of this third place game in just a moment on the North Dakota NBC television network.
Welcome back to the Dome. I'm doing my duty. I got a basketball mom here, Bertie Kincaid, mother of Chad Kincaid. Well, it's been a pretty fun year for you.
It's been awesome. We've had a really good time with the boys.
And when you look at, you got another boy that plays basketball too.
I got a 7th grader. He's excited. He's ready for it.
So is he pretty pumped up about getting to 3rd place here?
I think they're more pumped up of playing their last game together and having a good time.
Sounds good. We're having a good time too.
You bet. It's the best.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, John. Brian Quam will throw the ball in for the Shanley Deacons, and the second quarter is underway. Shanley with a 4-point lead. 14-10, Damon Bradshaw against Sam Pullis. He dribbles to the right wing, thought about baseline. Nice feed inside. Beautiful play. Shanley's Mike Hopper in the ball game, and he gets his first points of the contest. 16-10, Shanley on top of Mandan. And you do feel a little tinge, don't you, Dan, when you know that these guys playing their final contest for their schools, the seniors, that is. Nice feed to Tom, won't go. They're going to whistle a foul.
And with the way both these teams came on late in the season after struggling early, I don't think either of them want to stop playing basketball. They'll probably go right into their club teams and their summer teams, and they wish they could probably keep this thing going.
Ball is on number 30, Damon Bradshaw. That's his first personal foul. And to the free throw line, a good look at Scotty Tom. There's that basket cam. Oh, the technology.
So far, the Braves have had trouble getting anybody involved in the offense except for Lance Geigel, who still has 9 of the 11 points for Mandan now, and haven't been able to get Pullis free, and Schmidt's been reluctant to take a shot. They need to find somebody else that can put it in the hole.
Bradshaw surprised Johnson with that pass, but they retained it. Q gets it to Jake. Feed inside to Bradshaw, but scramble for the ball, and Scott Tom comes up with another one, and they're going to say he traveled with it when he got up off the floor.
I'll tell you what the Deacons are doing right now, and it's confusing, Mandan. They're just a very good passing team. Working that zone, cross-court passes, skip passes, long passes, not afraid to get it inside. Just a very good passing basketball team.
Talking with the coach of the Deacons before the game, he said, if you'd have told me I'd be playing for 3rd place in this state tournament, I would have said, oh, I'll take that. Damon Bradshaw off the glass. Bradshaw scores. That's his first hoop of the game, and it's 18-11 Deacons. So Jacobson and his whole team just pleased to be here, and as you mentioned, both of these teams just mirror each other in the kinds of seasons they've had and the gelling they've put at the end of the year. Damon Bradshaw with a steal and a save.
Now he wants the ball back. Great hustle play. He was at half court after trying and failing to get the steal. Came all the way back over to get it again.
Brian Quam, baseline jumper, and he nails that one. And there's going to be a timeout.
Good timeout.
Mandan and Coach Lemke want to talk about this one with 6:31 to go in the first half. Shanley with a 9-point lead. We'll be back with more on the North Dakota NBC television network. We have had some wonderful shots and some pretty little kids. Yeah, just like you, Dan. Speaking of that American Dairy Association commercial you just saw, we will be selecting the American Dairy Association player of the game at the end of this contest tonight. Mandan with a 9-point deficit, trying to pick up the pace a little bit. Greg Lemke taking a timeout, telling his team to get going, and there's the guy to get it going. Eric Schmidt. Ball's knocked away. Brian Quam is going to argue that it was knocked out by a member of the Mandan Braves, but he doesn't get anywhere with Dave Clunton. Mandan will take it out. Nice alley-oop feed inside to Tom. It won't drop, and Johnson with a rebound dishes it up ahead to Nick Jacobson. Jacobson will go from the baseline and drops it. Nick Jacobson. He's got 8 points already. North Dakota Farmers Union Insurance halftime report coming up at the half, and part of our majesty will be the Panther color, or rather Panther marching band from rugby. This is a 87-member unit, and it's going to be a real treat. That's coming up at halftime on the North Dakota Farmers Union Insurance halftime report. Shanley again on the fast break. Brian Quam gets it knocked out of his hands, and there's going to be a foul called on Ock. Number 12, Mike Ock, the 5'10 senior, gets called with a slap on the hand, and we'll see it again.
Well, Shanley's starting to get loose and run. Mandan's a team that needs to keep you in the half court to stay in the basketball game, and if they turn this thing into a running game, it's going to be all Deacons, I'm afraid.
And Tim Jacobson did say before the contest that he wants to run a little bit tonight. He doesn't want to get in a half court game with the bruisers on the Braves team. So Brian Quam to the free throw line. Quam nails the first one. Does he still have that hair on his chin, or did he shave that off? I think he's still got it. It's tough to tell, though, isn't it? He nails both of those.
Let's see if Mandan can get Eric Schmidt involved. He is the guy that really makes them tick. We talked about Pullis in the pregame, but Schmidt, their best all-around player, and the offense usually runs through him.
Sam Pullis nails the three, and that was brought up by Eric Schmidt, who set the screen on Jacobson that allowed Pullis to get open for that. Bradshaw puts it up, won't go. Tom with a nice rebound. He gets it up to Pullis.
Well, the reason I made that point, it just seems like Schmidt has been extremely frustrated in this whole tournament, and he's letting it affect his play. Needs to get some confidence back.
Excellent athlete is Eric Schmidt. Nice steal by Shanley, up ahead to Bradshaw. 3-on-1. It's to Quam off the glass. Brian Quam.
Well, and that's a perfect example. Eric Schmidt threw the ball away, turned the ball over, and then afterwards just kind of stood and shook his head. He's just extremely confused and frustrated that he's not having more success.
Big Mark Doms is in the game now for the Shanley Deacons. Pullis pulls up and shoots, and he nails the three. You can tell both of these teams are a little bit more relaxed tonight.
That is the one guy that can keep you in it.
Shanley deliberately brings it across the timeline. Whistle. Do we have a technical or a timeout?
Now
there is a technical foul on the court.
On Lance Geigel, called from half court. Ed Baker, the one making the call. He was at half court. Lance must have said something, taunting the other player, apparently.
How about that?
Which, when you're down by 9 points, doesn't make a lot of sense, but regardless, Lance Geigel called for the technical foul.
Brian Quam will shoot the free throws for Shanley. Quam perfect from the line in this one so far, 3 for 3.
Well, you hate to see this. Hopefully Greg Limke can get his team under control. They've had a great run. Similar to the Deacons, a lot of people gave them no chance of even getting to the tournament this year, so they should be enjoying this. Whether they win this basketball game or not, they shouldn't let themselves get rattled.
Brian Quam takes the ball out right in front of us, and he does indeed still have the stubble on the chin. Had to get a close view, though, to get that. Quam's going to take the three. He's going to be off, though. And Scott Tom with the rebound, and the Mandan Braves will bring it up 28-17. Shanley with an 11-point lead over the Braves in the third-place contest with just about 4 minutes to play here in this second quarter. Tom drives baseline. Nice, strong power move by Scott Tom, and he gets his first field goal of the contest. Quickly up ahead, though. Feet underneath the Doms. Doms won't take it. He gets it out to three-point land for Michael Johnson. Johnson scores 2-4. 7-8-9 so far for Johnson. This is Eric Schmidt. Thought about driving it. Gets it out. This is Sam Pullis. Pullis out on top. No, it's tipped away. He retains it, though. Cross-court pass. This is Ock. Ock feeds inside, and beautiful move and a nice play by Shane Avey. Avey's first points of the contest for Mandan, and it's 31-21, a 10-point lead for the Deacons. Johnson again. This is Q. Cross court to Jacobson. Damon Bradshaw with the ball. Thought about going into Dom's inside, won't go. Quam will take the three-pointer on top. He's off again. And they're going to call a foul on Mr. Doms underneath. Mark Doms, a 6'2" junior center. He'll pick up that fall for over the back.
Quam has missed badly from his last 2 3-point attempts. Seems to be a better shooter when he's moving than when he's standing still.
Okay, we've got a timeout on the floor with 3:04 to go in the first half of this third-place game. Shanley with a 10-point lead. We'll be back with more on the North Dakota NBC television network. Dun, 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 dun. She's a Braves fan. Welcome back to the third-place game.
It's kind of a 3D thing there, sort of like John Candy used to do. Those of you who can remember.
SCTV, is that what you were
absolutely
referencing there? An obscure SCTV reference here in the third-place game. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the North Dakota Farmers Union Insurance halftime report will be featuring the Rugby Panther Marching Band. They are something to behold. Nice turnaround jumper by Avey. He nails that one, and he's got 4 points. And it's an 8-point lead for the Deacons as Damon Bradshaw brings the ball up. Trying to find some action. Doms moving it around. Dangerous cross-court pass again to Jacobson. Jacobson fights through it. And there's going to be a foul call, and it looks like it's going to go against Scotty Tom. Rory McCormick is into the contest for the Shanley Deacons. We've talked about it a number of times during the tournament, but one of the luxuries for Tim Jacobson this season has been that when he goes to his bench, he pretty much puts in predominantly senior players, and they all are mature and know their roles. Nick Jacobson, on the other hand, very young player, only a freshman, but 6'3" as a freshman. Misses the free throw, and here comes the Mandan Braves. This is Michael Auk with the ball. Auk to Sampolis. Nice fake on Jacobson, but Jacobson recovers in time to knock the ball away. Jacobson fights for it. He picks it up. Pass ahead. He thought Damon Bradshaw was all alone, but Eric Schmidt had got back there, and he picks the ball off. And he drives the lane. Got a lot of beef on him. Avey with the rebound. He puts it back in. He's got 6. And we're down to a 6-point lead for the Deacons.
Shane Avey's been real impressive in this tournament. Off the bench, junior coming back next year. He'll get some more minutes.
Scramble for the ball in the corner. Tom saves it, gets up ahead.
Give it up.
This is Eric Schmidt. Schmidt throws it away.
Needed to get the ball ahead. He had Mike Auk way ahead of him. Nobody could catch him, and it just held the ball too long. That was a mistake.
Tried to get it to Tom at the last second, ended up throwing it behind him, and the ball goes out of bounds. And some more substitutions, and we'll get caught up with them as Damon Bradshaw and Mark Doms sit down, as you see, for the Shanley Deacons. Also sitting down is Nick Jacobson. He's going to get a rest. Back into the ball game now. Let's check it out here for Shanley. Mike Hofer's back into the game. McCormick's in there. There's Dan Dahl. Nice dish to McCormick, and it's knocked out of bounds by Scott Tom, who went up and got that one.
We haven't had much of a chance tonight to talk about it, but Scott Tom, very athletic, one of the better jumpers in this tournament, and he showed it there.
You get the feeling sometimes that Tom could do just about anything he wants if he just sets his mind to it. Great athlete. Nice feed inside by Quam to Johnson, and he gets stuffed by Avey. Shanley will retain it. Ran into Brian Quam's dad the other day, and he had his jacket all the way up, and he pulled it down and opened up, showed me a shirt, and it said Q's dad.
Mr. Q, I presume?
The only other Q I ever known was the guy in the James Bond movies. But now I know another one.
He's having trouble finding his stroke.
Oh, sweet pass. Oh, was that ever sweet to Mike Hofer, who nails it. Behind the back pass. That was sweet. Nice play. This is Michael Auk with the ball for Mandan, trying to make something happen. Sam Pullis. Scott Tom raising his hand on the other side of the court, trying to get the passes. He was momentarily open. Auk brings the ball around. Ooh, almost threw it in the hands of Brian Quam. This is Pullis with the ball on the left baseline. Gets it up to the left wing. Kincaid now. Kincaid trying to find something. Pullis will stop and take it from three-point land, and just like that, Pullis with 3 3-pointers in the first half as we're at 40 seconds to go. 33-28. Shanley with a 5-point lead.
Quam was right on top of Pullis that time, who usually takes a little time to get his shot off.
That's Q. Over to Dan Dahl. No look pass to Johnson, who's double covered. Bounced off of Pullis's foot, so Shanley will retain the ball. 24.4 seconds to go in the first half. And Quam will take the ball. Quam, you can see he wears this wristband on his left bicep. There's a shot by Johnson. Won't fall. Fight for the rebound. Scotty Tom comes up with it.
Johnson
and they'll go for one shot.
Johnson and Quam right now really having a hard time connecting from the floor.
We did have a technical in the first half here on Mandan. A little taunting. The refs would not stand for it. Polis with the turnaround jumper. He nails it. And that's the end of the first half. Mandan has pulled within 3. Fargo Shanley has a 33-30 lead. As we head into the locker room, we're going to try to talk to Coach Lemke. Let's send it over to John Haggerty, who is with Coach Lemke.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dan. Well, you put your seniors in right off the bat. They get you a nice lead. And then the second quarter, I thought you had some good intensity.
Well, at the end of the second quarter, we really did. And we got the ball to Sam Polis, and he's a hot shooter. You got to keep going to him right now, and he's doing a job.
What do you think second half now? What were you happy with in the first part of the second quarter?
Well, we started executing offensively. I think early on we were a bit selfish, to be honest, and we've got to move the ball and get it going and get it in a lot of people's hands right now.
Sounds good. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Thanks, John Haggerty. Look at this behind-the-back pass. That is so sweet. Quam to Hofer. Hofer puts it up, and it's in. Beautiful. At the half, Shanley up by 3 over Mandan. Stick around. The North Dakota Farmers Union Insurance halftime report featuring the Rugby Panther Marching Band coming up next. And welcome back to the Minot State Dome for the North Dakota Farmers Union Insurance halftime report. Farmers Union Insurance, the right product, the right people in all the right places. Serving all of the great state of North Dakota. They want you to know you are never alone. Now get set for a treat in the Farmers Union Insurance halftime report, the 87-member unit of the Rugby Panther Marching Band. Let's go to the court.
The band, the Panther Marching Band, is directed by Wes Sprayling. This evening, the marching band is excited to perform for you some of their greatest hits from past shows and a couple of new songs as well.
And welcome back to the Minot State Dome and the Farmers Union Insurance halftime report. And Dennis Wyman is with Coach Jacobson. Dennis.
All right, thanks, fellas. 3-point lead for you, Coach. Is he got 18 minutes of basketball, or actually 16 minutes? Oh, you added up. Your thoughts on the first half?
We played very well offensively. We rushed a few shots towards the last 2 minutes, and that gave them the opportunity to get themselves back in there. We did not do a good job on number 45 or Polis, and we needed to do that. But there again, we broke down a little bit towards the end of that quarter. We come out and play hard, and that's the key for us right now. We're looking for a strong second half.
Looks like the kids are having fun in this one.
They are, but they're starting to get into it now, and they want to win this game, and that's good to see. We're trying to get everybody in right now, too, and that's a real plus for us.
And how are you doing on the little bet?
I am still in for the run-in.
All right, good luck in the second half, Coach.
Thanks so much.
Guys?
Thanks a lot, Dennis. And before we get to the stats, that bet was $20 bet with his assistant, Craig Murray, on whether or not he'd be attacking the referees before the end of the contest. So Murray thinks he's getting a pizza out of the deal. Dan, let's go through those stats.
Now, he'll certainly be tested before the end of the game. You see Mandan shooting very well from the field, which is they have not been doing throughout the tournament, 55%. Free throws a big key. Shanley has gone to the line 9 times, made 6, a 4-point differential, and they lead by 3 on the scoreboard. Rebounds are even. Turnovers have hurt Mandan. 9 of them as a team, 4 of those by Eric Schmidt. You see the scoring. Brian Quam struggling from 3-point range, but he's got 10 points and a nifty behind-the-back assist that we showed you just before halftime. Mike Johnson, Nick Jacobson. Jacobson a couple of big threes when Shanley built their big lead. Sam Polis, most of those came late. Just 4 of 9 from the field, but 3 of those have been 3-pointers, and they have been big ones. Lance Geigel, 9 points. All of those came in the first 2.5 minutes of the game, and Shane Avey, 6 points off the bench.
That concludes the North Dakota Farmers Union Insurance halftime report. We're back with the second half right after this break.